Hey everyone, yeah, it's me, Chris Wall here. Don't adjust your screens. Yeah, Ricky's been slightly delayed on his way back from Japan, and as I'm sure many of you will appreciate, he's been away from his family for quite some time. So I think we can let him off for just one more session. So fortunately or unfortunately, however way you look at it, you're stuck with me this evening. We've got plenty to look at. Quite a bit of exciting news, actually. I mean, the last sort of 3 weeks, I guess you could say, where Ricky's been in Japan, he's left the farm in our capable, less capable hands, I guess. It's been a busy time, lots of shipments coming in, lots of new fish, releases to our dealers. Yeah, it never stops. So it's been busy. And then obviously, as you can see, Koi Talk, the magazine, monthly magazine, that never stops either. So it's a constant barrage of work. But yeah, we both love it. So yeah, can't really moan too much. So yeah, fortunately, I should be able to fill you in quite well because obviously the way me and Rick sort of live our lives, we're constantly on the phone to each other at stupid o'clock in the morning or stupid o'clock at night, talking to each other. Yeah, I was like a bit of a kid at Christmas. Rick, what have you bought? You know, show me what this, that, the other. You know, it's been great fun, and you know, he knows how to wind me up, and he'll just sort of send me a video of a fish, and he'll just be like, check this bad boy out, and yeah, it's good fun. So yeah, I've been following his journey literally every few hours, every day. We're in contact with each other constantly. So yeah, it's been nice. It's obviously it's not the same as being in Japan. You know, I've got a young family as well. And business needs to be looked after in the UK as well. You know, we can't take our eye off the ball at any time. So, yeah, last time I was in Japan was with Ricky, and it was literally just before the COVID outbreak happened. So, and Ricky hasn't been back since either. So, yeah, it was filled with sort of excitement, a bit of anxiety, sort of like how's the lay of the land going to be, being away from the family again. You know, it's best part of 3 weeks, maybe even more than 3 weeks, I think it's been. So it's a long trip when you've got a young family, but it's been a really fruitful trip. I mean, I haven't seen a level of quality and spread, and people will say, you know, I've got a vested interest because we work together, but I'm pretty objective with this sort of thing. When I see pretty exceptional fish, you know, whether we've bought them, I've bought them, or another dealer, I can look at the fish for what they are. You know, that's one of the things that you got to do in this industry. You know, you can't just have rose tinted glasses and say these are good fish because I bought them. So that's you know, seeing everything that's coming back, just the quality, the level, the standard is exceptional. Yeah, hats off. He's got a bigger set of cojones than I have, that's for sure, because yeah, some of the fish he's been invested in, as we're going to take a look at shortly, are yeah, pretty high end. So yeah, let's get into it then, guys. So I just want to have a quick plug before we get into things. As many of you know, I'm editor, co-owner of Koi Talk magazine. We're in the podcast studio here because I don't get very good reception at my hotel room. We're into issue 19 now, so you know, a year and a half worth, one magazine every month, and it is an absolute passion of both of us to educate people within the industry and hobbyists as well. You know, some of our advice will be a bit polarizing, but it's all born out of experience and hands-on. You know, what we practice, what we preach, and that's something that we're very big advocates of. You know, sometimes it might be a bit against the grain. It might be counter to what you've read for the past 20 or 30 years, but day in, day out, I don't think there's many individuals in this industry, certainly not in the UK, that are as hands-on and entrenched in this game as Ricky and myself. So yeah, we share all the knowledge through the magazine, and yeah, we have great feedback. You know, every month it's a challenge to produce it, but it's something that we're really passionate about. So, moving on to the little plug. At last, we finally created a binder. to house all your magazines. I know it sounds like a silly problem, but people that have got sort of 15, 20 magazines, or the old Koi magazines, just sort of stacked up in the loft somewhere, we've actually created a binder for them now. So I'm just going to share some images with you. I'm super happy with the design. It's even just as a bit of a Koi memorabilia, I think they're pretty sexy, to be honest with you. So some of you will recognize some of these images, the cover images that we use. Photography is something that we're super confident that you're not going to find better photography than you will do with Koi Talk. It's something that we invest a lot of time and effort in, and yeah, sourcing these images is a massive part and key to the success of the magazine. So this is the front side of the magazine. Each binder houses 12 copies of the magazine. A few people have been asking, how do they actually hold it? Do you have to have hole punches or anything like that? No, it's very simple. I think the best way of describing it is there's like a tension ribbon on the inside, and they hold 12 images, 12 magazines per binder. So yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing too many sexy binders, Craig, but yeah, I guess as far as they go, I think they're pretty top shelf material. So yeah, obviously you don't just have to keep the Koi Talk magazine in there. You can keep other magazines in there if you want. But yeah, this is the back, just to show you. And you can actually flip through it and read as you go. So the way they're layered within the binder, you can read it as one big magazine or big book, if you will. So that's quite a nice touch as well. But you wouldn't believe how difficult it was to actually find a company that produce like a customized binder. It's quite a rarity, we found out. So yeah, little plug there. I really do appreciate all your support. It's something that's, you know, we're not going to be retiring on this, but it's something that we're really passionate about. And if you can help support, and you think that it's going to be an addition to your Koi memorabilia, and yeah, just a tidy way to keep all your magazines together. They are limited edition, so you know, once they're gone, they're gone. They are released Saturday morning on the Koi Talk website. We will be placing more links on social media, and I'm sure you won't miss it if you are available Saturday morning. But yeah, just a quick one. Once they're gone, they are gone, guys. So yeah, that's that one. So let's move on to some questions. So this is one that I've had quite a lot recently. If you were involved in the NND Mud Pond event, which was a tremendous success, yes, Ricky, you would have seen on Facebook that Ricky was actually pond side, physically pulling in the pond when the pond was harvested. You will basically, you can probably appreciate that when you're pond side doing it, you know, we then have to collate all the images, videos, go through the fish, measure them, etc. Whilst Ricky's in Japan with clients, driving around, it's a tall order. So to make sure we do it justice, and there aren't any, you know, there's no issues with people getting the videos and images of the fish. Yeah, it's something that's not been rushed. But tomorrow we are planning to go through everything. So yeah, if you are involved in that project, you've not got much longer left to wait, I can assure you. And the results, yeah, I think there's going to be quite a few happy customers. So yeah, more on that one tomorrow with a bit of luck, but certainly within the next week or so, you'll all be aware of everything. Let's have a look. Are the farms heaving with buyers after 3 years of nobody being able to go to Japan? So I did speak, obviously I can't speak personally on this one because I wasn't there, but I did speak to Ricky, and generally speaking, the harvest, as in pulling the mud ponds, Ricky was saying that it was a little bit on the sluggish side of things. yeah, a combination of factors involved there, and obviously there still are parts of the world that aren't hugely confident in leaving the country and going abroad. So I think from the videos that I've seen, there were some pretty rammed fish houses at times. In terms of overall numbers, I would still say, from what I've seen, probably not at the height that it was pre-pandemic, but certainly a step in the right direction. So yeah, I'll probably have to let Ricky talk more about that when he's back. Which breeder has the elusive Shisui? Well, I mean, Shisui-wise, availability, there's quite a few breeders that do them. I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head, Hiroi, Yamaju, Kawakami. Yamaju and Kawakami, two breeders that probably excel in my head. They're the two breeders that naturally I sort of lean towards when I think of that variety. But that's not to say that breeders like Otsuka, Afuchi, there's quite a lot of breeders that produce Shisui. When you say elusive, I'm guessing you mean sort of like the higher quality examples. There you go, Kawakami is the one for Rick. So yeah, there's quite a few breeders that produce them. But finding a real good one with sustainability and longevity, yeah, is probably what you're leaning towards there. So yeah, they're sort of find it when you do see Shisui, one of those varieties that they're a bit of a Marmite variety, but when you do get a good one, they have a huge impact on the pond. And yeah, I think quite a lot of people got a soft spot for them, but equally a lot of people have not got a soft spot for them. So yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle on that one. Will you be able to send Koi to Colorado, USA? So some exciting developments. I won't say too much. I'll let Ricky speak to you on this one. If you want to message us directly, that might be an easier way to deal with this one. But yeah, certainly there are lots of, how shall I put it, things in the pipeline on this one. So yeah, hopefully you'll get an answer shortly. But if you want to message us on Facebook or email us, then yeah, we can talk in more detail about that one. No problems whatsoever. Interesting one here. Can you oversize a homemade moving bed filter and have too much media compared to the pond size and amount of fish? I guess there's an old saying that you can't over filter a pond, and I don't think you'll ever really generate issues where you over filtrate compared to under filtrating, for example. One of the things that you have when you over filtrate is you've got that margin for error, you know, and you can obviously keep increasing feeding, which if that's your goal to grow the fish, then you've got that buffer capacity there. So one thing that you will get, obviously, nitrifying bacteria, it feeds off, you know, the nitrite in the water. Obviously, if it's not being produced at a level that the filter needs to eat it and create bacteria, then you could argue that your biochamber is not running at its optimal. You know, if there's not enough food for the filter, then the whole media is not going to be populated. So yeah, I certainly can't see an issue in over filtering in that sense, but obviously doing it justice and maximizing the efficiency and the capability of the filter, you need to make sure that, you know, there's no point in having a huge filter with a few fish in, because you're not going to populate that filter in a way that you would do if you had lesser media and generating that biofilm on the media. So yeah, hope that enlightens that one a little bit. How are the DK shearers looking from this harvest? From what I've seen, amazing. It's probably one of the more exciting Nagata lines to come out for quite a few years, actually. A lot of hype, very famous parent fish from Omasako underpins the lineage. Had a fair amount of experience with Tosai, and obviously the that doesn't surprise me. He says he's bought one, but I bet he's got a few. Obviously, the remit behind it, obviously the NND Shiro Tsuri line, nothing wrong with it. It's just obviously taking it to the next level. They need to introduce new blood, and where better to pick than Omasako Koi Farm, and the female parent for that lineage has really changed the size potential for a start, but also the overall image of the fish. I mean, judging from videos that I've seen, that unfortunately not everything goes online. We can't let everyone see everything, because there's certain things that certain fish that aren't ours, we don't own them, and it might be a group video of fish that belong to multiple people around the world. So from what I've seen from a few harvest videos, the results are exceptional, and I'm sure Ricky's going to enlighten us with some of the results that he had. We had a couple of clients that had Azakari fish out there, and other than the growth side of things, just the clarity of the pattern, the pigment, and the black pigment, and the shiroji. That's one thing that often, when you sort of think you've hit the jackpot with Shiro Tsuri, they'll be thrown up as a secondary Benny, or an area that doesn't, that lets you down. But this particular line, it looks really, really promising, and pretty much the remit was, make the fish bigger, improve the quality, increase the volume of the fish, and up to date, I think year on year since they've conceived this parent partnership, it has not failed to deliver. So really exciting one to look at, the DK Shiro line from NND Koi Farm. So good question, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that are excited to see results. And also Tosai this coming year, is going to be exciting. So what size of the Dinichi Kahaki Tosai you have that are being released to shops soon? Well, Rick's not actually seen these yet, so I am actually probably the best person to fill everyone in on these. These are a bit stupid, these fish. So rarely in my time, the whole time that I've been involved in this industry, it's quite an elusive farm in terms of getting smaller fish. It's normally not doable. It's simple as, to be honest with you. And if you could, in my head, the quality wouldn't be there. But these have come back. As I was unpacking them, I was just thinking, wow, there's going to be one excited boy when he gets back from Japan, because they are on another level. They really are little crackers. They came in, ironically, sort of between 9 to 11/12 cm. Still in quarantine, fully in quarantine still, and I measured one the other day, and it's 17 cm. So even with just teasing a little bit of food in, I reckon there's a few of them that have gained at least 2 to 3 cm already in the space of a few weeks. So if anyone was doubting the genetics of these Tosai that are coming out, should be an interesting one. So they finished QT the end of November. I think that takes them to 6-7 weeks, something like that. And then at the beginning of December, they'll be distributed to our dealers. We had a staggered release. So some dealers are leaving them with us until the new year. Then some dealers are taking them because they have heated facilities straight away. So we'll we've got some marketing materials, some videos, and some more content. So nearer the time, we will be releasing that, so everyone will be yeah, in the loop on that one. So yeah, just have a look. Just have a look. We've actually got a concept for a T-shirt. I won't say too much, but it's got one of Ricky's favourite slogans on it. So yeah, that should be an interesting one. Let's have a look at. So here we go. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about tonight is one of the really exciting projects that we've got coming up. Obviously, when you're in the ground in Japan, it always opens up different doors, different opportunities. One farm in particular that Ricky and I have a massive affection for is Tanaguchi Koi Farm. I guess in the mainstream media, so to speak, a lot of people probably familiarise it with the variety Golden Corn, which is sort of, yeah, divided opinion. But putting that aside, this guy is a Go Sankey, particularly Sankey and Kahaku breeder, on another level. He is the epitome of what I would call the modern day koi breeder. His ability to pair genetics, and that's one thing, but then to raise the fish and do them justice is another thing. I mean, if there were any farm where you'd want to go and pick koi show fish, this is up there. I mean, the farm is just absolutely dripping. Unfortunately for Ricky, it is a bit out of the way. It's not in Niigata, it's down south in Hiroshima region, and it is a bit of a trek to get to, but it's a stand-up farm. It really is. Really modern thinking breeder, younger breeder as well compared to some of the older Niigata farms. I believe first generation as well. And one of his big ethoses is obviously quality. That's undeniable with most farms in Japan. That's something they're always striving for. But progression, movement within his own line. So the Sankey and Kahaku are really exceptional. Yeah, beautifully patterned fish. And yeah, in my opinion, yeah, certainly when you see the level of young Tosai that he's got, it's just extreme. It really is. Other varieties that he, other varieties that he excels in. Goshki, believe it or not, is one variety, and I learnt this myself actually the other day. Kajaku as well, he plays around with, but not on huge volumes. But yeah, pleased to say that Ricky's pulled one out of the bag and he's secured quite a few Kajaku Tosai from the farm, which would be my first experience with that variety from that farm. So, you know, I'm quite excited to see what they can bring. He's not a breeder that mucks around, you know. He has a real in-depth understanding of how to pair fish, and not just that, how to raise fish as well. So obviously Ricky's got quite a few fish over there. That won't surprise anyone. And had a few Azakari results, and has also sorted out the next growing project. Now, one of the standout things, well, not standout things from Tanaguchi, because there's many standout things, but he does a lot of indoor raising. Another thing where this modern take on growing fish, you know, is something that we've, you know, carried out to huge success at Koi Wholesale. What you can achieve in concrete ponds with Tosai and Nisai is just unbelievable. It's just having that ability and experience to get the most out of the pond that you can. And I think that's where a lot of hobbyists struggle a little bit, because they don't push the boundaries. You know, for us, it's a living, it's a career, it's 7 days a week. You know, we have constant monitoring of the ponds, constant ability to change and tweak things. So with that in mind, the winter raising inside is a huge asset to the farm. A different climate in the south, of course. It would be a difficult thing, or a very costly exercise to do in Niigata. to heat the water for a start, to grow in temperatures. So we've got a massive. I've seen these fish that Ricky's purchased and that will be available. I can't say too much today, which is probably going to annoy people. But I promise you, you are going to be blown away with them. I have not seen a spread of fish like that at this sort of price point, for a long, long time. I don't know whether it was a welcome back Ricky Sands special, but whatever it was, you're going to love them. There's varieties. There's some golden corn. Gimrin Showa, again, is another variety that the farm excels in. Sanki Kahaku, obviously, some Goshki, some Kajaku as well, some golden corn. So, it's a proper spread. And I'm excited to share that with everyone as and when. So I'll let Ricky release some more details on that nearer the time, but you won't have to wait too much longer to see what we've got planned. Will there be a list of dealers when they come up for selling? Yes. Again, we're going to do probably a similar. We've not ironed it out entirely, but we're going to do a similar concept to what we did with the NND Mud Pond event. So all the details on the fish will be released in advance, and then a list of dealers that are participating, and then basically you send your wish list to the dealer, and they, when the event goes live, they will have the option to purchase. So really exciting one that is, and it's going to be something that keeps everyone. It's going to be something that keeps everyone entertained over winter as well. I'm going to share with you a couple of fish results that Ricky had in Japan at Tanaguchi Koi farm. I don't think I could give or come up with any more superlatives to describe this farm. Every time this fish come over, just fascinates me. Just the degree of quality in his fish. Probably a bit of an unknown quantity to a lot of people, because I would probably say to certainly UK hobbyists, Nagata breeders are far more front of the mind than, say, some of the southern breeders. Ricky and myself were talking about Sakai not too long ago, and it's only sort of the name Sakai is very common in Japan, but when we talk about Sakai Fish Farm in Hiroshima, a much underwhelming name to maybe some of the people at home that aren't familiar with it, because they've never come across their fish. Similarly to Tanaguchi, but by no means does that get away from the quality of the fish. It's just people aren't as exposed to them as perhaps some of the Nagata breeders, for example. So hopefully, if you enjoy, those of you that know Tanaguchi as a farm, you will know the qualities that I'm talking of. So we're going to have a look at a couple of examples here. One Sankey that's sort of been doing the rounds. I mean, I don't know if you could say it went viral, but I had a lot of messages from people. This is some high level Azikari results that Ricky's had. So this was Sankey as Jumbo Tosai. This is 40 centimeter Jumbo Tosai Tanaguchi Sankey. So one of the things that you get with Tanaguchi Sankey or Tanaguchi fish in general is quite a powerful body line. When I talk about body line, I'm talking about the silhouette of the fish, a strong shape to it. Body line, body form, body mass, body size, all representing sort of different things, not one of the same. So very powerful little fish. I say little, 40 cm at Tosai is by no means little. You can almost kind of see where the fish is going to be mapped out in terms of pattern wise, and this is one strength that the farm really has. When I say that they're quite a koi show friendly farm, he has a real ability to generate heavily patterned fish. It's just a trait within the farm, and it's a characteristic that makes them, koi show ready a lot of the time, particularly as Kahaku, winning lots of awards in Japan, and I dare say in the UK as well, although I don't quite have my finger on the pulse as much as maybe some of the hobbyists will. Maybe some people can fill me in there, but certainly to my mind, super breeder. So this was Tosai as a carry, and we're going to move on to the Nisai result. So as you can see here, just that white ground. This is another important thing when we consider pattern. There we go, 150 fish entered into one koi show, which is just says it all. And no doubt a lot of wins and a lot of placements, which just says it all. So this is perhaps where some people may have been looking at the image of the Tosai, this one, and wondering whether, perhaps, is it a bit pattern heavy? Is it a bit cluttered? What's going to happen? This is the importance of this, having a vision of the fish and envisioning the mass and the body mass projection of the fish. So obviously knowing how his fish develop, knowing how well the body, they body up. This patch of white on as we're looking at the fish on the left-hand side is just a real pivotal part of the fish in terms of breaking up that pattern. Body-wise, really, if you can't see the power and in that sort of structure, then we're looking at different things. Obviously, in terms of Sumi development, another thing that I really like about the farm, it's quite conducive to the UK. It's quite solid, quite stable. And it's thank you, Alan. Yeah, there you go. I must admit, like I say, I know they're of koi show standards. I know there's a lot of Tanaguchi fish out there, so it's good to hear that the fish are on the show scene and doing the farm justice, because certainly warrant it very much. What size is this there, Chris? So this was 62 cm as Nisai, sorry. And you could kind of see the path that the fish is taking here. It's a very powerful Sankey body style. It's more probably akin to some of the bigger bodied fish that you see on sort of 80, 85 booth sort of sizes. It's really a powerhouse of a body. Just everything is set on the fish nicely. And then we move to its current position, which many people would have seen this fish online that Ricky shared. Yeah, development-wise, this came out at, let me just check my notes so I get this right. Size-wise, 70 cm Sansai. So, in terms of an investment from Tosai to Sansai, it's an absolute cracker. Ricky hasn't shared it yet. Okay, there we go. He's just shared it with me. This is the trouble that me and Ricky have. There's an endless stream of fish, and I think Ricky was surprised to find out that he had some fish in Japan that he'd forgotten about. But there's not, in terms of Sankey wise, it's just the body on it. Perfect. Cheers to that, Kev. In terms of body mass, it's just huge. Just a real biblical body style on this. Powerful front end to the fish, which could sometimes be a bit problematic as it moves towards the back end of the fish. But this has got a great body line on it, this fish. It's got absolute mass and body power throughout. Condition of the pattern as well, you can see from literally, if we nip back to the Nisai image, seeing the fins, Tajima is fairly non-starter. You can see a little bit just floating in the right pectoral fin as we look at the picture, and then bang. This is just indicative of Tanaguchi Sankey. It's, you know, with Ricky's knowledge of this farm, you can start to read the fish particularly well, and when you get a feeling for them and how they develop, you can have some super results. So yeah, super fish, and one that I imagine will probably stay in Japan further to do it justice, unless Ricky tells me otherwise. We've got a few shots of the fish here. Benny quality, pigment in general is just on another level. Just absolutely dripping with class and intensity, and that's something that is just going to carry this fish forward. Another shot here. I mean, just look at that Benny style there. It's absolutely glowing, deep, thick, glossy. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And we do have a video here as well. There we go. Just take a minute to take this in. Just an exceptional fish. It really is. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not. It's not my position to tell people the cost of a fish like this. It probably goes without saying that this is. I don't like using the word expensive, because expensive would imply that it costs too much. Some fish just cost a lot because, simply put, there aren't many of them. As a result, supply and demand. It's a market dictates that fish like this, if you're a breeder of a fish of this caliber, you don't give them away. Simple as. So, extreme quality from a farm that I really like. I've been a massive admirer of this farm for years. And it's just fish like that really prove it. I mean, we've got a couple of other examples as well. Some of you may have seen this. I can't remember if Ricky shared this or not. I'm sure he'll fill me in if you have. Probably to a lot of people, slightly underwhelming shower. But obviously, if you've got a bit of an eye for body styles, in particular from this farm, you can pretty much see this body style is designed to get big. It's got proportion throughout, big head, big mouth. A lot of people say to me, you know, what do I look for when I'm looking for, potential fish to grow? Well, a good start is head structure on fish. Apart from sort of examples like Chagoi, Sorogoi, maybe Karashigoi, generally speaking, most fish won't develop into big fish without having that head characteristic. So I could totally see what Ricky is looking at this. He's got an image in his head, knowing how well the Tanaguchi Sumi develops, and just looking at that head structure on the fish as well. But pattern-wise, probably a bit underwhelming. So if you were sort of pitching this to a client, it might not be top on someone's list. They might be looking at it and going, well, where's the Kahaku pattern? Again, we've probably, if you follow Koi Talk or any of Ricky's videos, you'll know that is something that's pretty much, not taken much notice of us. There's a far bigger picture to selecting shoal than just looking for a pretty Kahaku pattern. For that reason, that would be discounted when looking at this fish. It's purely looking at body style, body potential, size potential, and then obviously when we skip to the Nisai picture, so this was again jumbo Tosai, 40 cm. We skip forward. There we have it. So you see the development in such a short amount of time. It's just extraordinary. And then obviously this is only going to carry on quality wise. It's got a body structure to it that is going to enable it to develop really, really nicely. And again, just those accents of white on the fish that just break up the pattern, super important. Perhaps might be glossed over at a young size, but certainly pivotal when the fish get bigger. Pattern wise, harmony, it's there. Yeah, someone's mentioned there that Shiroji improvement is mad. This is one thing that a lot of hobbyists, and I do fully appreciate, if you've got to purchase a fish, you've got one opportunity to purchase it. Now, a lot of tosai, a lot of fish that are developing or amassing sumi, it will often take away from the Shiroji quality. This is a conditioning thing. This is not a characteristic of there is no Shiroji quality. You can see on the tosai picture on the left, it's the head that has, and the fins that have this creamy appearance. This is when you are growing fish and growing fish quickly, pigment cells, particularly in young fish, don't have that ability to flex and maintain intensity that they do when they get bigger. So this is very characteristic with young fish, and quite indicative of sort of growing Go-Sanki in general. If you look at the body, there's a clear, distinct difference on the picture on the left, the sort of window of Shiroji just off the dorsal fin. That's probably a more truer reading of the fish's potential Shiroji. So obviously looking at the fish, I would hesitate to say female. I don't know that, but yeah, I would say, yeah, there you go, Stephen. It can be said that some fish will lack Shiroji quality, but it's important not to be drawn in purely on one aspect of it, and knowing the characteristics of A, that variety, B, the breeder's traits, and then C, the condition that the fish is. The likelihood is that that image on the left is after or during a growing spell. So obviously, in terms of Shiroji, the fish is not conditioned to a point where it will display the white pigment as best as it can. So yeah, something to be. The peduncle has stumped me. How would that develop in terms of pattern? If you're talking about sumi development in fish can come in stages. So in long term, I'm guessing Ricky would share my vision with this fish that will fill in. You can see it's quite characteristic. You see the motoguru and the fins, the head, the shoulder area of the fish, everywhere it's sort of coming. It is probably a little bit more broken up pigment wise towards the back, and that's probably why it's taken a little bit longer for the sumi to amass. So it will be interesting to see that fish moving forward. That's an individual shot of that fish. There we go. Let's have a look. And then a video of the fish as well. Super luster on the skin as well. Just an awesome breeder. He really is. This is probably not a variety that he's super famed for. Like I say, probably renowned for being a Kahaku and Sanki breeder, but literally any variety that this breeder sort of turns his mind to, he does it a thoroughly good job. And I would dare say there's probably sumi development on the head to come. The motoguru will consolidate as well. Coupled with that sumi at the back, you can kind of see the overall image and what Ricky is, the vision that Ricky has for the fish moving forward. But that's always important when you're selecting fish. Some people think it's a little bit of a cliche, but you need to have a vision when you're selecting fish, because after a year, 2, 3 years of purchasing the fish, if that vision has come to fruition, then your eye and what you've seen and what you've predicted has been good selection. You know, your skills have been applied, and yeah, it's something that will help you moving forward when selecting fish. If after a year, 2, 3 years, you constantly get results that aren't You know, there's no such thing as a bad fish per se, but they're not satisfying you. You know, they're not doing you justice, or you're spending a lot of money and you're not getting results. This is where this type of knowledge can come into play. I noticed something popped up there. You'll have to bear with me because I'm not familiar with all of these buttons, but I saw something to do with, in my early days of studying at Surrey, yellowheads were claimed to be male. Absolute bollocks. Yeah, again, when fish are amassing sumi in the body, it takes a massive amount of intensity away from shiroji. Some individual fish that we're talking about rules, and there's always exceptions to the rules. I don't think you can get away from that. So that will be true of some fish, but it's equally not true of a lot of fish. You know, when I'm looking at like Shiro-Tsuri, like Alan just said there, yeah, yellowhead Shiro-Tsuri, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. You've got to look at more than that. So yeah, it's a valid point, and probably something that a lot of hobbyists will disregard fish, good fish, based on the fact that they've got a bit of yellowness to the head, with the thought process that they can't develop into better fish, and that's really not the point. So sorry, that's really not the case. So yeah, it's really interesting. If you see some of the Omasako, DK, NND, Kaneko breeders over the years, you'll see toe-side with sort of creamy yellowy heads, only to see them on the show scene in Japan 2, 3, 4 years later. So if your remit is to disregard fish in general, let's take Shiro-Tsuri, as Alan said, for now, based on a yellow head, then yeah, you're looking in the wrong places, and you're going to be missing potentially good fish as well. So yeah, good point, and probably not one that a lot of people chat about, to be honest with you. Sounds good, you know, yellow heads, don't pick them, but it's really not the case. It's understanding the lineages, understanding the variety as well, and understanding that if you've got fish that have got a lot of sumi sat in the skin, that's going to take away from the shiroji, particularly young fish as well. It's they all go hand in hand. Sometimes this is a conditioning issue as well. Sometimes with gosanki, you might find that the fish have been on colour food, for example, when they've been growing. So obviously at that point, the beni is in great quality, really lustrous, deep, thick beni, because that tends to be the pigment that struggles when fish grow quickly. So we try to assist the fish in that sense and give them colour food, so that the beni is not lost and damaged irreparably. Sumi and shiroji, two different forms of colour that need different characteristics within the environment and in the food. Colour food is not one of them. So obviously, as a result, you will get this yellowing to parts of the fish, but this is a conditioning issue. This is not an issue with the fish per se. So yeah, interesting topics tonight, guys. Appreciate all the feedback as well. I know, I mean, I think I'm pretty interesting, and my wife doesn't, but hopefully people have enjoying some of this. I do have the odd good thing to say. This is another example. This is just a shot that I've got of a Sankey from Tanaguchi. Just, yeah, it's just mad, absolutely mad. And this is really indicative of the farm structure of the fish. Yeah, there we go, Mark. So I've been trying to educate you, mate. Yeah, this is really indicative of pattern style. The farm's really consistent across the board in terms of body characteristics, the qualities that the fish represent across the board. But the pattern style as well is something that the farm is really executes particularly well. I mean, you've got classic big kata sumi marks on the shoulders here of the fish, which from a symbolism point of view and a harmony of the pattern is super important. It's something that a lot of the breeders like to see. Pigment qualities there, just unreal. all three pigments. Again, a good example here of fukurin in the making. On the white skin, you can see it in a bit more depth. Again, head not completely white at this point, but as we just demonstrated several times, this is more of a condition issue. Another shot there, just from a slightly different angle. Yeah, just an absolute worldie of a just an absolute worldie of a fish. Yeah, it's just a super farm. And that is why, ladies and gents, we are proper excited to release this next batch of Tosai to everyone. I've seen the fish, and I'll be honest with you. Thank you, Sam. Very much appreciated, mate. The level of fish that's going to be achieved for the price point. I never like sort of chasing price, but ultimately that is how a lot of people judge the value of fish or the perceived value of fish. You know, in my mind, it would always be false economy to spend, you know, big money on a fish that looks good now, that looks shit in a year or two. So it's always finding that balance of having quality, value, potential, and characteristics that are going to carry the fish forward. There is a selection of fish coming from Tanaguchi Koi Farm for our Grow On project at the beginning of December that, yeah, is going to blow people's minds. So, yeah, super excited about that. We're going to release lots of details on it as soon as we've collated. There's a lot more work behind the scenes that goes on to these sorts of events. It's not just typically... I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate this, but when we put something on like this, it's not something that happens overnight. There's a lot of collaboration with the breeder. We have to make sure that all terms are agreed, everything, the growing facilities, shipping, everything has to be thought of. So yeah, there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes to these projects. And yeah, we were really delighted with the response that we had from the NND growing project. So yeah, I'm sure if you like them, then you're going to be suitably happy and blown away with these. So yeah, it's been a nice little session tonight, guys. Yeah, for those of you that wanted to tune in to Ricky, apologies, you've had to put up with me for a little while, but yeah, I really appreciate when I jump in and do these sort of things. It's a bit daunting for me because it's not something that comes really naturally to me, being in front of the camera. I've had to adjust to it a little bit more. But when I get talking about koi, I tend to flow and go off on a tangent, and I get, hopefully, the passion and the enthusiasm comes across for everyone. And hopefully everyone's enjoyed this evening. So I'm going to check out now. I'm going to go and get some sleep. It's been a bit of a late night the last few nights, as you can see with my eyes probably. Have a little 6-month-old girl, as lovely as she is. She can, keep me up quite a lot. So yeah, I'm going to disappear, guys. And thank you very much for staying tuned. And I'm sure I'll see you again. And stay safe. See you guys. Bye.